that better? Oh, that's better. Good evening. Livestream 1 says, always be nice. I agree. Empathy, kindness, respect, those are all very important things. Hi, Mike. Hi, Greg. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Sam, Fred, John. A lot of the usual suspects here tonight. Thank you for thanks to those of you, especially who came over from the premiere. Tried something different tonight. This light is like really harsh. Excuse me while I adjust my accoutrements. Um, uh, yeah, thanks for coming over from the premiere. Tried something new. Have the premiere lead directly, almost directly. There was a wait. I figured, build in a potty break for people to go and grab a snack or go to the bathroom, whatever. God knows I needed to. Hello, Robert, down there in Melbourne, Australia. Mike, you have a Zoom meeting at 6:30? This is like a Zoom meeting, except none of you guys get to talk. It's just me. Well, I'm glad to have you here for as long as you can stick around. Hi, Fred. Hell on wheels. How you doing? Brad, Ronald, nice to see you all tonight. Thanks for joining me for this live stream. It is February 28th. Ordinarily, right, that would be the last day of the month, but it's a leap year. And as I was coming up here this evening, I was wondering, as I always do every leap year, what it must be like for people who were born on February 29th. Is anybody out there born on February 29th? Because I always want to know, when do you celebrate your birthday? Every 4 years? Because that's what I would do. Because I would take advantage of that. I mean, when you're young, it would kind of suck when you're little, but when you get older, it would be really nice to only have a birthday every 4 years, right? You'd slow the aging process way down. But when it's not a leap year, what do? Do you celebrate on the first day of March or the last day of February? It's inquiring minds want to know. Hi, Sean. Hi, Brian. Lindley. Good evening, sir. Glad you could make it. Mojo Jojo. Usually not home on a Wednesday. I was doing them on Friday for a while, but a lot of people have a lot of stuff going on Friday, and I don't know. I'll probably go back and forth between the two. Mineral King Railroad and Photography. Good evening from Livermore, California. How are things out in Livermore? Mike Gilbert Sullivan wrote a whole operetta about that. That's true. Depends on which day is the weekend. Yes. That's good. Hello, David Stefik. So, I put a quick topic for tonight out there. I don't know if you guys saw it. And we don't, we can talk about whatever you want. But the topic was, is it too hard to get into ON30? Because I've been seeing a post from people, like I'll post something. I'll post a photo of a locomotive or, one of my shots of the railroad. And invariably, one of these comments, there'll be a comment like, well, I wish I could get into ON30, but there's nothing available. There'll be that, or there'll be, I wish I could do it, but I can't afford it. And that's totally legitimate. If you can't afford it, you can't afford it. If you got to have all your basic needs covered. I will be the first to tell you, kids out there, please don't do what I did when I was a teen, or early 20s. Go and spend all your money on trains and not have money left over to pay rent and buy groceries. Ask my former girlfriend about that. So you got to have your basic needs covered. But then if you're going to indulge in a hobby, all hobbies are expensive. All hobbies are a luxury. Golf, of course, is expensive. It's a luxury. Any kind of hobby, woodworking. Wood ain't cheap. Power tools, not cheap. Any kind of tool, good tools are not cheap. So I don't see that. If you're gonna, quilting, pick a hobby. Needlepoint. They all cost something. There's always a price for entry. So um, I'm not sure I buy that argument. I said I don't know if you guys saw this. There's a great post over on Facebook and Al Judy's ON30 group. If you don't happen to follow that, you probably should. If you're interested in this kind of stuff. David Wingrove, yeah, did a great job backdating a Bachmann 260 to like a late 1870s, early 1880s, Russia iron boiler. Beautiful, did a beautiful job. And I looked at that and I'm like, well, there it is, right there. That's the hobby. And if you go right now, Bachmann has 260s for sale that you can get at Train World for $140. I just bought one. I couldn't resist. I got a Bumblebee for the Goldfield and Calico. So you can find stuff, and you can go to eBay and you can find the ones that are painted for Thomas Kincaid or Coca-Cola or McDonald's. There was a whole McDonald's set that Bachmann came out with. And, you can pick those up for a song. They don't have DCC, or sound or any of that kind of stuff, but you can get them. You can get a locomotive. You can get a set of cars. The stuff is out there. It's available, but it takes, a little imagination and patience and time and time investment and physical investment to do something with it. But that's the hobby. That's why we're here. I think what they say, what people mean when they say that, there's nothing available, is there's not. I mean, if you compare it to HO, yeah. I mean, there's not nearly as much ready to run stuff available as there is in HO or N scale, larger scales like that. I saw someone comment went by too quick for me to catch who said it, but they're absolutely right. ON30 is a maker scale. It's a scratch builder scale. It's a kitbasher scale. It's a scale for people who really want to indulge their creativity and their imagination. Sean Williams, does the new 260 have tender pickups? Yes, it does. And it runs beautifully. And by the way, I thought for years that you could not run a 260, a Bachmann 260, on my 15-inch radius curves. Turns out you can. They will run. That's why I designed the new Goldfield and Calico. The hidden curves are 15-inch radius, but the visible ones are broader. So, it looks kind of silly going around them, but they will negotiate them. But you just can't have any bumps or anything slightly out of gauge. It's just got to work. So yeah, they do have tender pickups. They come, what they call sound ready. You can get them. This is Train World right now. Right now they have Penzi, and I believe East Broad Top is coming, and they've got the Bachmann or the Bumblebee, which I got, available. They have them for $140. That's DCC, ready to go. And you can pick up one of the sound modules for like $80. So, it's going to cost you, a couple $100. But I went right over to eBay immediately after that and picked up a sound module, dropped it in, and I've got a great running locomotive with DCC and sound. Done. It just needs to be painted and weathered and, have all that stuff done to it. Mojo Jojo, as there are so many ON30 Bachmann moguls and cars available, the price is getting higher for DC locals. That's true. If you're looking for porters, I sympathize. The price. Someone said this too, that the price had gone up, but now it's kind of leveling out. I think they've reached the ceiling. And by the way, if you see a Bachmann Porter for sale on eBay for $400, please, I'm begging you, don't buy it. You'll just encourage them. No Bachmann Porter is worth $400. They're just not. These things were, I remember when they were $60 when they first came out, but that was DC and that was 100 years ago. But yeah, don't pay $400 for them. You'll find one for cheaper. And I feel like a lot of people don't in this hobby. They're used to going to their local hobby shops, and the local hobby shops are going the way of the dodo. Very unfortunately, we've talked about this before. But you really have to learn how to use these auction sites and resale market if you want to be able to get this stuff. Go to eBay, create an account. All you need is an email, and they won't steal your soul. I mean, I'm no fan of Peter Thiel at PayPal, but you know, we have to live in the world that we live in. We have to deal with the corporations and you know, and everything that are out there. Anyway, that's not the point. Create an alert. If you want a Bachman Porter, create an alert. You'll get an email every time one of them comes up for sale. And you'll find one and you'll get one, you know, eventually you'll get one or you'll get two. And most of you guys know this. But you know, you just have to learn how to use the system. Yeah, Bob says, I spent a grand total of $33 each for my porters in 2010. That's right. I was thinking that they were cheaper than 60. Because I remember paying like that, 35, 40 bucks when they first came out. DK, I have, oh yeah, brick and loaner motor C16s have been $500 to $600, which is way too much. Yeah, it's way too much for that plastic locomotive. Come on, 500 to $600 bucks. And if nobody pays that, let's make a pact, okay? Don't pay that much for that stuff because that just encourages them and it drives the prices up more. If you don't buy that, you know, offer them $200 for it because that's the upper end of what those are worth. Yeah, they're stupid expensive. They didn't make a lot of them. You know, they didn't flood them. They were available for a short, relatively, I mean, compared to Bachman stuff, they were a relatively short period of time. So, you know, it's supply and demand, I guess. But anyway, St. Aubin Station is a magical place. That's right. The $50 porters seem to be all gone. Yeah, you probably won't find one. Well, you won't find one running for $50. But, you know, if you're handy, you know, I bought them for parts before just to cannibalize and use on other models because they've got lots of great parts. So even if they don't run, you can, you know, if you're handy, you can remotor them. You can put your own decoder in there. You can put your own sound system in there. You can put your own sugar cube speaker in there for the engineer to sit on. It's just perfect for as a stool. Yeah, train shows are great. Are better. You're going to get better prices at a train show for this stuff than you are on the resale sites. That's usually true. Bongo and a top hat. Great username. Model Power and Bachman HO040s. I wonder how easily they could be converted to an ON30 Porter. Detail on the driving rods would be simple, but it's a maker's hobby after all. Experiment. Exactly. And the Cumberland shops and Lambert Locomotive Works, if you're not familiar with those two names, write them down. And as soon as I'm done here, go check them out. Lambert Locomotive Works, Cumberland shops. Cumberland shops you can find on eBay and Facebook, same with Lambert. And they sell a lot of conversion kits for Model Power and Bachman 060s mostly, I think, but 040s too, that you can get, you know, and those things are widely available. So you get the cheapo mass-produced HO locomotive and you convert it to ON30, which is the way this ON30 started in the first place. Let's see. Okay, good. All caught up. This is an exciting thing right here. Oh, also, and thank you, Sean, for telling me exactly the part number for the Shea parts. I got them. They came in the mail today from Bachman. You can go on Bachman's website and order. The stuff comes in and out of stock. but you can order a lot of replacement parts and detail parts, cabs, tenders, boilers, pilots, all of that stuff, trailing trucks, pilot trucks, all of that for different locomotives and stuff available. Cylinders, drive shafts for shays. Thank you, Sean, for getting that done. You know, it's all there, so you can do that. Let's see. Robert Goslin, my problem here in Australia with the exchange rate and postage that doubles the advertised price. Yeah, I understand that. I wish I had a solution for that, because people ask me about international shipping. Whenever I try to sell anything on my website, back when I was doing a lot of kits and stuff, they'd ask about international shipping. It's like, no, it's just obscenely expensive. That's why it's not listed on the website. Unless you do mass quantities. You know, unless you do mass quantities of stuff like you're from Shanghai and you can send everything out DHL, then yeah, then the price comes down. But if you're just a small operator, it's just as expensive for me shipping stuff as it would be for you to ship stuff overseas. I saw someone turn a Tyco tea kettle into Disneyland's 240. I think that was Sam Toller. I remember that build. Yeah, it was really cool. He turned it into the Ernest Marsh. Have I considered doing something similar? Sure. I have so many locomotive projects, and I just started another ON30 railroad, which is going. I'm capping it at 3 locomotives for the Goldfield and Calico, because it's small. It's, you know, it's 10 by 4 feet. It's a small railroad. Any more than 3 on there, it would start to feel really crowded. That way I can have, you know, 2 in the staging and 1 on stage, and swap them back and forth and run them around. But yeah, so anyway, yeah, I've got so many projects. I actually have a Bachmann Forney, which is a much better runner than the Tyco locomotive you mentioned, that I'm going to convert into a 240. Depends, Bob. If you send me if you send me a link for another sweet deal like that. See, Bob knows how to use the eBay notifications, right? I said, Bob Kerner is my personal shopper. He'll send me these things, say, oh, you got to buy this. Like, I don't need that. And I'm like, well, maybe I do need it. Bongo to Top Hat. Sam's stuff is great. We can all agree Sam is a hell of a human being. Sam Toller, if you know, he's the guy that did the Nature's Wonderland model, which is at Griffith Park now. Definitely check it out. If you happen to be in the LA area on the 3rd Sunday of the month, it's definitely worth going to see. Just for that. Of course, Walt's Barn is really cool too, and the Combine and all that the stuff is there. Sam, we can all agree, Sam's a great guy. Yeah, you also have surplus locomotives you need to get rid of. See? You don't have a problem, right? Uh-oh. There we go. That Climax. You're going to send me that Climax, Bob? Let's see. Mike says, if a Forney fell into my lap, I'd build a 2.4 out of it. Well, that's exactly what happened to me. A Forney fell into my lap. And actually did some artwork for someone, and they traded me as part of my compensation. They said, hey, we have this Forney, would you like that? I'm like, yeah. I don't have one of those. Sure. So you're trying to reduce your problems? Yeah. So yeah, it fell into my lap, and that would be pretty cool. Saucy Robot, you're over on Patreon. Come over here and watch us on YouTube, Saucy Robot. Click the link that says watch on YouTube, which should be on the lower left of the screen there, and then you can join in the live chat here. I can't really see that, the YouTube chats, or the Patreon chats. Brian Lewis, sold off my G-Scale Tweetsy stuff to fund my ON30 Rio Lobo track plan. Let me ask you this, Brian. Are you building it as I drew it in ON30? Because if did you watch my video I just did on grades? because um, you're going to need a steeper grade, and I believe I drew that with a 4% grade. You're going to need a steeper grade for clearances in ON30 than you do in HO, but I'm sure you know that, right? Eric Kircherer, hope I didn't murder your name. I'm interested in building an ON18 micro layout, but like operations, how well does ON18 handle operations switching in your experience? It varies. It depends greatly on the power plant that you use. I would highly recommend doing what I did, using these great running little Kato mechanisms, either two axle or 4 axle mechanisms, 11103s, 11-109s. They run great. I mean, great. And with a little weight, they run even better. And this is just DC. And you could definitely do switching with them. You could, absolutely. Mike says, just wait until you can print your own stuff. I have like 7 or 8 McKeans now. You have so many you've lost track. You don't even have. What do you have? The Rio Lobo is a cool plan. I should do a workbench Wednesday on that, like I did with those ON30 plans, and walk people through it. And because the design was, it's a folded dog bone. So it's like the maximum amount of running that you can get in a 4x8 space, which makes it kind of an interesting layout. And somehow I managed to make it not look too much like a bowl of spaghetti too. At least I think so. Some others may disagree. Let's see. Hi, Grant. I am so glad you made it. Sorry, I'm just getting caught up on the comments here. I've resisted getting a 3D printer. People keep trying to tell me to get a 3D printer, and I now, I resisted for a long time having a computer here at the studio, and now I have one because it just makes my life easier. I resisted it for a long time because I work on the computer. That's work rather than this play. I work on it, and so I spend all morning every morning doing graphics and stuff like that on there. So I resisted having one, and now I have one up here. And I've resisted a 3D printer for a long time, but who knows? Am I going to do a walk around the studio tonight? Would you guys like that? I could do that. Timmerfeld, no, I won't. If Walt's Barn is reissued in the future, I won't be involved. And it's not because I don't love Walt's Barn and didn't have a great experience doing it or anything like that. I just don't want to be in the retail kit business. I don't have the time. I don't have the time to dedicate to the retail kit business. It takes an enormous amount of time, and there's a return on investment thing there, which is not great. There are faster ways to go broke, like say the restaurant business, but yeah, I wouldn't go into the retail kit business again. However, it's not impossible. The people to bug about it would be Walt's Barn or the Walt Disney Family Foundation. And Jake and I would probably gladly license the designs to another manufacturer for a small fee, and they could produce it in O scale or HO scale or S scale if they wanted to. But I'm not going to go back into the kit business doing that. Jake has shown some interest in going and doing some kits, maybe with somebody else. We'll see. Yeah, I can't promise anything. But all I can say is that if it comes back, I won't be shipping them. What about N scale? Bob, we need to talk. can confirm running a 3D kit printing business isn't straightforward. You know, I was watching one of my favorite YouTubers is Adam Savage. And if you don't watch Adam Savage's channel, do yourself a favor and subscribe to tested.com or tested here on YouTube. He doesn't need my help. The guy's got like 9 million subscribers or something like 6.5 million or something ridiculous like that. But but he's a great, anyone who's interested in any kind of making of anything should watch his channel. Because he's got a great philosophy about the whole thing. And now I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, was it 3D? Oh, he was talking about 3D printing because he does a little Q&A, kind of like I'm doing, but smarter and more articulate. And he was talking about, somebody was asking about 3D printing, and he kind of hit the nail on the head, as he often does. He said, it's just, for a commercial business, I would not want to be dependent on that technology at this point for, like you're saying, because it's so slow. And, it takes all night to print, and you come back and it might not be what you needed. So that's a real, seems like a real crapshoot to me. Yeah, a lot to be learned from Adam, that's for sure. He's always building himself a new organizer. Yes, the greatest way to make a small fortune model railroading is to start with a large one. Yeah, that's what they used to say about the restaurant business. Brian Lewis, the real Lobo is actually on my top level. It sits on top of a full mine train. Not a lot of horizontal space, so I had to go vertical. Yeah, that's the way to go. There's always room on the Z-axis, as Adam Savage would say. You can always go up, almost always. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to spend my whole live stream talking about Adam Savage, because like I said, he doesn't need my help. But great channel. You should absolutely give him a watch. Just watch one of his videos and you'll be hooked. It's just like, oh, okay. Because he's so enthusiastic and infectious. And I try sometimes to come anywhere near his level of energy. It's like, I can't. I can't do it. I can't pull that off, even with coffee. Excuse me. Drew asks, what parts do you use to hold the axe and shovel on your Heisler? Those are rail spikes. With the, those are medium O-scale rail spikes. So they make perfect little brackets. That's all that's holding them on there. You got 3 of Sammy's passenger cars. I'm hearing a lot of good things about Sammy's passenger cars. Michael Slow. I do make some parts available to my patrons, and we call it or the members. Some of the members here on YouTube and Patreon members get access to a secret door on my website where they can order bags of parts. And that's what it is. It's not a kit. That's what I call it. It's a bag of parts. It's literally like a bag of parts. There's no instructions or anything, and there's parts missing. It's like the stuff, like when you see me do a build, the stuff that I cut and use, and if I have those files, I'll share them, not the files, but the parts, with the channel members and stuff like that. But it's I don't want people to join just to get that stuff. I've had that happen. That started to happen recently. There's people join and then they just order something, and then they order everything, one of everything, and then they leave, which is great. Thank you for giving me money. I'm not complaining about that. That's awesome. But that's not why I want people to. That's not why I'm doing it. Anyway. Yeah, I do make some stuff available, like the ON18. What'd you ask for? The ON18 boxcar? The ON18 ore cars are available. The ON18 boxcar will be available. I have a new website that's going to be launching, but like I said, those are only available to patrons and YouTube members. Bongo in a top hat. I just like saying your username. It's great. On a note about vertical mines, Steve Strebel's ON30 layout has an amazing underground ON18 mine section under his ON30 layout. Have you seen it? I have seen video of that, I think. Can be seen on Toyman. Yeah, I have. That's where I saw it. It was on Dale and Karen's channel. Yeah. Drew says, I like watching your build videos of structures with your new layouts. Will you be building any of your own cars? Yes, I would. I would like to do. That's one of the reasons. This is one of the things I want to talk about tonight. What time we got lots of time. One of the reasons for doing like the Goldfield and Calico is I know it's still a fantasy railroad, but it's going to be a little bit more realistic than the Thunder Mesa layout. It's a little bit less Disney, a little bit more dirty and more weathered. I mean, people are, oh, you don't weather your stuff. Well, yeah, it's all supposed to be new and it's Disney, so it's it's not dirty, but it's a lot of fun to dirty things up and weather stuff. Don't believe me? Ask Jason Jensen. Ask Jimmy Powell. It's really fun to weather the hell out of stuff to the point where it looks like it's falling apart. So I'm going to be doing that, and I would like to build some really nice prototypical, like probably Denver and Rio Grande Western, or no, I haven't decided yet. You can tell I'm thinking about it right now. Maybe Southern Pacific or Carson, Colorado, box cars or stock cars. Really nice. I don't want to say museum quality, but nice stuff. Oh, you're right. Freeholding. There needs to be some freeholding tank cars. Those should definitely be on the Goldfield and Calico. There should be a couple of freeholding tank cars. That's the other thing about the layout. Excuse me. Locomotives aren't going to run on freeholding, but though they could, that would be highly explosive. They are going to be oil burners, just like the Southern Pacific. Yeah, Carter Brothers. Thank you. That was the name I was looking for. Carter Brothers. That would be fun. Do a couple of Carter Brothers builds. I mean, the plans are out there, so it wouldn't be that tough. Be a lot of fun. Will the goat picture on your site be available again? It said sold out. Oh, the goat trick? Probably. Yeah, that was another thing that's been waiting for the new website. Is and I was selling down a whole bunch of prints that I had. Al Sharp, Al, you stated you were getting a Bach-Maché engineered for a smaller radius. Yeah, and the guy that did it for me, it was here in the chat earlier. I'm not sure Sean's still here, but it was Sean Williams. I'm not sure he wants to do that a lot or make a business out of it. He does do a lot of custom locomotive works for clients, decoder installs and sound installs and stuff like that. And he's going into the speaker business, I hear. He's testing out, because he's not satisfied completely with the model speakers that are out there available, so he's coming up with some of his own. So that would be pretty. You're nodding along, Mike. That would be cool, wouldn't it? That McKean would look really cool on that layout. Also, it'll look cool on either one. I'm actually thinking. Here's just. I'm gonna talk to Mike for a minute. Just the two of us. Of having the McKean go back and forth between the Thunder Mesa layout and the. It's like the southwestern desert trunk line, between the two. It'll be one of the things that links the two. It'll go back and forth between the two layouts. That'll be cool. Yes, freeholding tank cars, Carter Brother freight cars, some nice full size passenger car coaches, not full size, but the Bachmann ones. Yeah, Lars, I know Lars. Guy named Owen Thurry. Lars has some great micro layouts. He has some of Vern's stuff. Yes, yes. Vern, he and I have a lot of Vern's stuff. I think he has more than I do. Al Sharp, you wanted to know how the Shay was engineered? Basically, what he did is he got a new set of the drive shafts. The problem with the Shay on the sharp curves is that it'll go around, a stock Bachmann Shay will go around a 15-inch radius curve with the cylinders on the outside. But if you run it the other way with the cylinders on the inside, it'll bind because it's a much tighter fit. And his solution, which was genius, was just to get a set of the shafts and trim just a little teeny bit off. I'm not sure exactly how much he trimmed off. So, don't go start cutting them. He trimmed it just enough so it would negotiate that curve and but not fall out when it comes the other way. So it's a very, the tolerance has got to be pretty tight there because it's got to be long enough to stay in when it's flexed this way and short enough not to bind when it's flexed this way. And Sean figured that out for me and did a great job. I was more than happy to have him do that for me because, my philosophy is if you're better at it than I am, you do it. and I'll pay you for it. I'm happy to. Nevada City, that's where I've seen those plans for the Carter Brothers. Yes, exactly. Side door combine style caboose. Yeah, actually, Bachmann made one of those, like a drover's caboose. I think I have one. I do have one. I don't run it on Thunder Mesa because it's too big. I'll probably repaint it and re-letter it for the Goldfield and Calico. So back to, I was just trying to catch up there. Thank you, Al. I appreciate you watching. The topic at hand, I think we're all in agreement that no, it's not too hard to get into ON30. It does require some effort. A good question I just thought of would be to ask, is it a good entry-level scale? If you haven't done any model railroading or model building, is it a good place to start? What do you think of that? I'm not sure that it is. You can figure it out, but I think you might have a better experience if you build your first layout in N or HO or something like that, where there's a lot of stuff available. That's why, beginner layouts and everything are always designed for HO scale because there's so much available, like I did the Christmas one. I don't know. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Yeah, and it's narrow gauge too. That's the other thing. Narrow gauge is a niche, and ON30 is a niche of a niche. Depends on your modeling skills. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. If you're just starting out, you haven't built all those skills, you don't have the tools, you don't have the institutional knowledge necessarily to jump into that. And I don't want to scare anybody away. I don't ever want to say, no, don't do it. Do it if you want, if that's what you want to do. But it was your entry level scale. See? Some people might find it easier because it's bigger. It's just bigger. It's easier for me to work on because you take the tender shell off and you can see everything in there. Oh, I know what all that is. All the electronics. It's not microscopic like some scales I won't name. Oh, that's an interesting take. Starting out at ON30 will keep your budget in control. In HO or N, you can go crazy buying things. That's just, because there's not that much available. And you're forced to scratch build a lot more. Yeah. Mike says, no, I don't think starting in ON30 is a great idea for model railroading. There seems to be a progression, I've witnessed. People usually start in the smaller scales and then kind of work their way up and eventually end up like Scott Robertson in FN3 or G scale or GM3 or one of those, or live steam eventually. They kind of work their way up to I got a couple of friends that own actual steam locomotives now. So, yeah, you talk about expensive. I kind of it's kind of my entry level, but then I started converting the actual scale up to 1/32. Hmm, using your ON30 and double O mechanisms. Yeah, I had planned to do a 1/32 scale layout at one time, and it became the Bandit Canyon Railway, and it's ON18 now. Best figure scale to get detail, but not just a few figures. What do you mean, Ian? Jack Swallowwell has a question. I got a question for you. When you make wooden trestle bridges, do you design the terrain to fit around a bridge design, or you design the terrain first and make a bridge to fit it? Well, if you were doing it prototypically, you would design, well, you wouldn't design the terrain at all. You would use what was there and build the bridge to fit it. The answer is both for me. I design the bridge and the terrain at the same time, and build them both at the same time. I'm not one of these people that builds a bridge and leaves it hanging there over plywood for 10 years. But sometimes I'll just leave a piece of track without anything under it, hanging over a piece of plywood for 10 years, and then come back and build the bridge and the canyon or the river or whatever it is all at the same time. So yeah, I try to do it all at the same time, or have a plan. So yeah, for me, it's both. I design the whole thing as a scene. How do I want the bridge to work? How do I want it to look? I don't always execute it all at the same time, but I do design it all at the same time. I'll at least, at the very least, do a thumbnail sketch, so I have an idea of what it's going to look like. John says, I saw your stick of dynamite with a goat on it for Lighterman High Explosive. Is that going to be available to purchase? I would love to have one or two of them. It's so very cool. Thank you, John. What I might do is make the PDF available so people could just download it and print it. It's just a tube of paper, you know. I made that for a friend of mine, and I'm going to make a few more, and they are going to be something that you can, I'm sorry, I got to do this, something you can only get if you visit the studio in person. And I'll probably just give them away to people. I don't want to sell them. I don't want to be in the business of making those and selling them. But I wouldn't mind just, if you come to the studio, I'll give you one. Or on the new website, it'll be a PDF that you can download and print. Probably for like $1. Fred Hayes, I really enjoyed and learned a great deal from you on your how-to. Thank you. I try to get away from doing how-tos, though. It's such a YouTube cliche to do how-tos. And not only that, but I get imposter syndrome. I feel like am I qualified to tell people how to do this? I tend to think of what I do as more like just documenting the process. I'm documenting the process. And if you learn something from the way I present the process and document it, to show you how I do things. I can't really show you the best way to do things. Let me put it that way. I'll show you the way I do things, which works for me. And since I can't get inside anybody else's head, I don't know if it's necessarily going to work the best way for them, if that makes sense. Larger scale is really a different type of figure painting, a lot more to get it to look natural. Yeah, I can see what you mean there. There's a lot more work involved. Yeah, that makes sense. Bongo no Top Hat, once again, I purchased a Mini Trains HON30 FNC 040 in Japan. Hope to kit bash it into a Calico Mine 240 someday. It seems like a good jumping off point. Hold that thought. That reminded me of something. I'll be right back. I believe I've shown this before, but this is the mini trains Forney um, that I'm kit bashing into a kind of a mine train with Nature's Wonderland style locomotive. I started this 2 years ago. Was it last? Wait, no, it was beginning of last year. No, it hasn't been 2 years yet. Yeah, it's adorable. It's a very Tunerville trolley looking thing. This is a stack from a Bachman Porter. The cab is laser cut, scratch built from my design. But that's basically all I've done, and I widened the sideboards on there. But yeah, it's adorable. Runs great too, which is nice. So yeah, they're excuse me, they're a good jumping off point for ON18, but they're kind of hard to find. The mini trains, you can't, these 40s are really hard to find. Yeah, exactly. Wish they sold more in the U.S. Yeah, the HO scale boiler with the HO scale cab. Yeah, it's very, it's very cartoony. I'm the first to admit it is a caricature. It's very cartoony. But, I like cartoons. I think that's great. I love it. Let's see. Hey, you want me to do a walkabout to show you what's happening in the studio? Do that. You can see the way things look right now. Got a little bit of time, I think. I'll take you guys for a ride here. Here we go. Turn around. All right. If you saw my studio tour, you know that I have completely rearranged. This is where I was broadcasting from just now. This is my new workspace over here. Excuse me. I just love it. Love the natural light from the windows. When I first moved into the studio, I'm like, this place has great light. And then I proceeded to put up walls and partitions and everything, so I never got to enjoy it. But now I'm really enjoying it. It will fade the models, though, over time, just so you know, in the scenery. And here's where the Thunder Mesa layout is at. I was just up changing light bulbs before we started. Kind of upgrading all the lighting. I'm going to be upgrading the LED strip up there, too. There's the LED strip that runs along the track light. And that can give like a moonlight effect or sunset or, because it changes color, obviously. Oh, and here's here's the Bumblebee. Parked over here in Dinosaur Gap at the moment. This is going to be the Calico Bell. And my story for explaining away the paint scheme is that this is one that's often used in the movies because, Calico is not that far from Los Angeles, from Hollywood. They filmed a lot of Westerns out in the Mojave back in the day, even back in the 1910s and so on. The era I'm going for, it's 1900 to 1920. I'm kind of zooming more in on like around 1917-ish. So, yeah, this is the movie star, the Calico Bell. But, it'll get dirtied up and decals and details and all that kind of stuff. So here's where we are over here. Haven't done much over here since the last episode, but I'm getting ready to pull all of the structures and everything off of this section. This is all the Vern Niner's old San Lorenzo diorama. That's all going to get a new home on the new layout, really close to the same location. All the stuff back here on the shelves. It's interesting to see how things look under the new lighting. It's kind of yellow, isn't it? Right. RGS's number 20 ran for years in movie paint. Yeah, that was the idea, is that this is one that has been in a couple of Harry Carey Westerns or Douglas Fairbanks Westerns, and that they filmed out there, and, they didn't bother to repaint it. Also, as someone pointed out earlier, that at Knott's, they originally had a very fancy paint scheme, which was similar to the Bumblebee colors. Was it 41? Was it on 41? Can't remember which one it was. For years and years with a big box headlight, because Walter Knott wanted it to look more Western. Let's see the Shay run. Oh, well, it does. Let's see. The old Hanging Rock Depot is going to move over here. And going to be the Big Thunder Depot now. There's that Shay. Haven't done anything on it yet. Back here. I do have the parts, though. Thank you, Sean, for letting me know the part number to order. Let's see. I'm going to need a tripod if we're going to run this thing. I have to take this one off because I haven't reprogrammed them yet, and they both have the same address at the moment. They're both factory number 3, so. Princess is going to go right there. And hang on. I didn't have this planned. But that's a good suggestion. We'll see that. Let's get that Shay going. Hopefully the track is still clean enough to for this to work. Sorry, I hope I'm not making you guys seasick moving around like that. There we go. Stand by. I have this jury rig right now because the layout is partially disassembled. That's just a lot of fun right there. That is the Shay. This is going to be Thunder Mesa number 16, named after Fred Yorger. Well, I thought, almost got it to the water tank. Fred Yorger was the head of the model shop back in the day for Walt Disney and built a lot of the models for the early park, including Sleeping Beauty and Castle, a lot of the Main Street USA models. He's got a window on Main Street. So that will be that'll be the Fred. What? You guys missed it? The video froze? Seriously? The video froze until you picked the camera back up. We never saw it move. Oh, God. Really? Wow. Okay. Let's try it again. You guys want me to try it again? We'll try it again. I can't do two things at once. Never saw it. All right. You see it? You hear it? Awesome. Okay, let's turn it around. And there you guys have it. There's a Shay. The Fred Yorger. Gonna get a new cab and paint and all that kind of stuff. You thought it was in big trouble. No, it was not the Shay's fault. There was a technical difficulty. See if I can stop it at the water tank this time. Oh, stop. Well, there we go. Now I need a climax. I know, I'm working on it. Gruesome Gulch. Gruesome Gulch is out and is going to be running on the next open studio, which is March the 2nd. That's, we'll do some Halloween in March. Sean, did you have a heart attack? Did you think, you think it wasn't running? No, that was just, video froze up. Needs to be green. Yes. It's going to have the same paint scheme as the Bob Gurr, which is over here. The Bob. Basically the same as the Dixiana from Rory Camp. Yeah. Love it. Absolutely love that locomotive. And over here, there's the Goldfield and Calico. Well, just Calico Mountain so far. The rest of it's going to be right there. That's why that table is there. So it reminds me of the space that it's going to take up. So I don't walk through that space. I get used to going around it. But still, Just give you a little 360 here. Really open the place up, moving stuff around, give myself a lot more space to work and to play. Oh, this is a cool thing someone just sent me. It's very kind of them. Isn't that great? Love it. Come back over here. All right. And we're back. Well, I'm sorry that didn't work the first time. It's the vagaries of the internet signal up here. Oh, hey, wow, we're out of time. Just like that. Thank you all, guys, all so much for joining me tonight for this live stream. Like I said, the next Open Studio will be March the 2nd. I think I just put the new calendar up on Facebook going into all the way through spring. There probably isn't going to be one in June, so if you're traveling out here in June, I'm sorry, I probably won't be here. I very well might be out in California the first weekend in June, but don't quote me on that. Thank you all so much for watching tonight. Great conversation. Great to spend some time with you guys. You always give me good ideas that I will later claim that are my own. Keep moving forward, everybody. Have a great night. Sleep well. Adios for now.